In this video, I'm going to give you my 10 essential concepts that you need to master within Google Analytics to become an efficient Google Analytics user. All and more coming up right after this. Hi there, and welcome to another video of Measureschool.com, where we teach you the data-driven way of digital marketing. My name is Julian, and on this channel we do marketing tech reviews, tutorials, and give you tips on better Google Analytics use, just like this one. So if you haven't yet, consider subscribing. Now today we want to talk about 10 essential concepts that you need to master within Google Analytics to become efficient at a tool. Now these are mainly based on my experience with the tool. I've been working with Google Analytics for over 10 years now. But I also did a lot of implementations of the tool and taught this tool to clients and students of mine. So it might not all be as you expected. And if you have any comments or thoughts, then please leave them in the comments below. Now for now, we got much to cover, so let's dive in. Before data actually enters your Google Analytics account, you need to measure it. And measurement is the first concept you need to master within Google Analytics. You need to know how data actually gets tracked. So there are different methods of doing this. There is, for example, the installation of the tracking code. You could also do this through Google Tag Manager. You could use plugins, but also you could upload data into your account or use the measurement protocol to track actually data in your account. And there are different hit types that you need to know about, and also the scopes of these hit types in order to send the data in the right way. So that's the first concept to master within Google Analytics. Now, once the data flows into your account, it actually doesn't just get stored there. It goes through a processing engine of Google Analytics. And the processing engine is basically the rule engine of Google Analytics. There's where your raw data gets divided into sessions, into the user scope, but also is done a number of filterings on it. And really, it's about the rules that Google Analytics deploys. So you need to know about the processing engine, how it actually works, and how you can manipulate it in order to make the data more useful for you. There are a lot of configurations in the admin section that you can do. And knowing about these configurations in order to influence the processing engine is one of the skills that you definitely need to master within Google Analytics. Once you look at your data within Google Analytics, you basically look at metrics and dimension. In that regard, you need to know what the difference is between metrics and dimension. And you can also dive into custom metrics and dimension in order to build a more customizable set of data within your account. Now, metrics and dimension also get super important once you put data together, because you need to know about the different scope of that data in order to build a report, for example. In that regard, you can also look at calculated metrics, because this is a new feature within Google Analytics, and you can put data together and transform it basically. And this is something you definitely need to master within Google Analytics. Now, once you have all that data in your account, you probably have a question that you want to have answered by the data. And this is where our fourth concept comes in, which is data exploration and analysis. So you need to go through and know actually how to use all the variety of tools that Google Analytics has available to cut and slice your data in the right way to get to the answer of your question. There's, for example, the date filtering, the custom segments, visualizations, or simply the ordering of the data in your table that can help you to look at the data in a certain viewpoint and then find out the right answer to your question. So being aware of all these different mechanisms on how to slice and dice and transform the data is a core skill to have when working with data within Google Analytics. Which also brings us to number 5, custom segments. Now, custom segments is probably the most important feature when analyzing within Google Analytics. You need to know what segments are, first of all, but also how to then build segments within the custom segments builder and slice your data in a way that it gives you the right viewpoint on your data. So for example, only looking at people who came through the channel of organic search results or through your PPC search results makes a huge difference on the viewpoint of your data and the questions and the answers that you get from your data. Always segment your data. Data doesn't really make sense if you just look at it at an aggregate. And so you need to be able to use this tool very effectively. And this is definitely one of the concepts you need to master within Google Analytics. Another complementary tool to that is number 6, which is RegEx. So if you are a Google Analytics advanced user, you probably came across RegEx, and that's something you definitely should learn, because RegEx basically gives you another tool set that makes it far easier to filter and segment data. If you look at the available filter options, you probably see the contains option or the begins with option or ends with option. But with RegEx, you can be much more granular while doing any kinds of search operations within Google Analytics. This is super useful when you're working with custom segments or filtering data within the interface, but also when you're doing any kind of configuration. So if I think about goal configuration, is RegEx super important to know in order to granularly include or exclude any kind of data within your Google Analytics account. Also when setting up filters, very, very important. So definitely learn regular expressions. Now, once you get sick of the standard reports, you probably want to put your data together in your own way. And this is where custom reports come in. Once you start building a custom report from scratch, you might find the knowledge about your metrics and dimension very useful, because this is something you can't just throw together and make it all work. You need to know about the concepts of scope, what scope means within Google Analytics, and how to use that effectively in your custom reports to show your data in a certain way and put it all together. So that's one of the next concepts you need to master within Google Analytics. And number 8, when we go back on the grand scheme of things, you definitely need to know how to customize your Google Analytics. On the measurement side, there is a whole lot of customizations, how you send in data, but then also on the configuration side of Google Analytics, you can configure Google Analytics in a certain way which makes or breaks your data in a sense. So for example, if you think about the customization of cross-domain tracking, is that useful for your case? You need to know about the different feature sets of Google Analytics and how you can customize it to the business that you are working with or the website that you are working with, and that everything is configured correctly so you have clean data in your account to do your next analysis. This is really the heart of a lot of advanced Google Analytics work, where you really need to figure out how can I use Google Analytics effectively for this use case. Number 9, once you're sick of the standard reports and also the custom reports, you want to correlate probably your data with other data sets that are not even in Google Analytics itself. So you need to get that data out of Google Analytics, and there's where the reporting API comes in. Now, the reporting API is the firehose to getting the data out of Google Analytics into a Google Sheet or into BigQuery or into a dashboarding software like Google Data Studio. Now, if you're not familiar with the reporting API, I definitely would check out the Query Explorer, which lets you see all that data and let you try out certain data exports and what Google Analytics and the reporting API gives back. It will make it so much easier if you already know what data is available in the background, and definitely something to master within Google Analytics once you get advanced with the data and want to pull it out of Google Analytics. Which brings us last but not least to our 10th concept you need to master within Google Analytics. Probably the most important concept here, which is your Google Analytics process and then taking action on your data. Now, this is all about not just leaving the data laying around in Google Analytics and say, wow, this is great stuff, I have learned a lot, but not taking action on it. Analytics data only gets useful once you take action on it, once it changes something in the organization or changes the behavior of the people who use the data. So take the next step. Go ahead and build a custom segment so you can retarget within AdWords, a great feature of Google Analytics as well. You can also use that data to start an A/B test within Google Optimize, for example. Or simply prepare that data for a presentation that you will show to your stakeholders so you can change the behavior and lead to action within your organization. Don't become a data monkey who just looks at the data and pukes it out, but take action on the data, get to the behavior point, then you go full circle within your Google Analytics process. So there you have it. These are my 10 concepts that I think you need to master within Google Analytics to become an efficient Google Analytics user. Now, this is basically my opinion. If you know any other points that I have missed, then please leave them in the comments below and maybe I can pick up some new tricks as well. Now, if you haven't yet, consider subscribing right over there, because we bring new videos out every week. We try to ramp up. We do also some live stuff. So to keep up to date with all that stuff, please click that subscribe button. And my name is Julian. Till next time.